Today's conversation is just so important. You see, we live life as if nothing major is happening. We live life with the audacity of saying, when is disclosure going to happen? When's a miracle going to happen? When's ascension going to happen? Come on, world, shake things up a little bit. Oh my gosh. If you have the eyes to see it, you are living through a miracle right now, today. And that is what this conversation is about. The veil has fallen. This is the biggest news I could give you, the biggest thing that's happened in your life, and most people carry on as if nothing big has happened. And that's because most people can't yet dial into and therefore validate the new frequency, the new energy that they're living in, and they therefore are unconsciously or subconsciously recreating from the past template. Which means that even though the veil has fallen for a very, very long time, they're going to plaster it up there. And that takes a lot of work to do. One of the reasons why people are very tired is because they are trying to put in place old realities that no longer actually exist of their own accord. So in other words, people are going to feel safe with that veil up because it's how they know themselves in the world. What are the implications of a veiled world? If we're going to talk about the implications of the fallen veil, what are the implications of a veiled world? The biggest one is separation. Absolute disconnection from self, from feelings, from source, from intuition, from memory, from your soul's memory, from who you are as an infinite being, from your cosmic family. The list is endless, but that's the big thing. The veil equates to amnesia and separation. So the implications of a fallen veil are many. And I'm going to give you 7 major points today that are going to help to validate what this means for you. Because you know what? When you can validate the reality within yourself, you begin to breathe it in more, integrate it more, live from its potential more. And then when you do that, you become a ripple for others in their reality that allows them to reach into higher octaves that they couldn't connect to before. Now, let's start with these 7 points. I want to start with point number 1. It's the biggest one I can give you. Oh, and by the way, before I give you point number 1, stay for the end, because as we go through these 7 points, I think that they're going to expand you with each passing point. I think they're going to leave you with an expanded view of the reality you live in, so don't skip them. Number 1, heightened intuition. Heightened intuition, which is really the most obvious thing, because think about all you empaths out there, you're going to know what I'm saying here. Think about how sensitive you've become, how sensitized you've become, which is crazy. In a world that's telling you to numb out and numb down, you are amping up, almost like your emotions or feelings are on steroids right now. You're feeling things as if they're under a microscope right now. So what is with the heightened sensitivity? You are literally living in a world unveiled. Therefore, you have more access to higher bandwidths and higher frequencies of information, and you're able to tune into deeper nuances of emotions that are familiar, but now you can experience them at a depth that you couldn't get to before. So when your sensitivity amplifies and increases as it is, and as it will continue to do still for quite some time, just so you know, that means that your intuition gets bigger. You're going to become more psychic, but it also beckons you to tune more deeply into that inner wisdom. And it's not about blocking out the external voices, because you should know, if you've watched my channel enough, this is never about blocking out anything, but it's about tuning in to that inner truth, that inner voice so loudly, with such focus, that it becomes all you can hear. To those of you who in my comment section, I get the most beautiful questions, and some of you ask, how do I connect to myself? How do I connect to my truth? How do I feel my intuition? All of those how do I questions, that is why I have an online community, so I can teach you what I know. Please do look at the video description box and join the Plasma Light Tribe if you feel called to go deeper into your connection to yourself. That inner voice right now is connected to divine source consciousness. Now, let's get deeper into the 7 points. So we know that you're more intuitive, way more psychic, way more connected, way more sensitive than ever before. Point number 2 is a direct implication of that, and that is that you are going to start to see things as they really are, which you've already been doing, but it's going to get bigger and louder and stronger. An example, look at the news. Look at a conversation even with a friend or a loved one or a family member. And notice how so often somebody can present a piece of information to you, but something in you goes, no, just no. Not even that you want to challenge them, not even that you want to argue or debate, just it doesn't resonate as truth, because truth is a feeling and so is a lie, and you can tell the difference not by the words that are used, but by the energy of the person relaying those words. So your ability to discern truth from lie becomes more and more accurate the more you live in your truth, the more you live outside the veil of forgetfulness. Now, as you start to see things for what they really are, point number 3 comes into place, and that is that you start to see people for who they really are. So now it's not just the news that they're giving you the information, but the being giving you the information. You're going to start seeing them for who they really are. This is very important. And as I go through these 7 points that I'm going to give you today, this particular one, point number 3, is going to get a lot bigger. This is an important one. It doesn't mean because you can see someone for who they really are that you're therefore going to challenge them, judge them, berate them, shame them. It's just going to become a quiet inside of you. Just a quiet knowing inside of you that says, no, I'm not aligned. I'm not aligned to this person. And that actually takes me to point number 4, which is that you're going to start to see through old spiritual teachings. There are a lot of them out there. I've spoken about this at length in previous videos, how it was needed, it was necessary to take the spiritual community who were always going to be front runners and dumb them down, because that was going to slow down ascension. That was part of the plan. It doesn't work anymore, but it was definitely part of the plan. So interwoven into the spiritual community, there had to be many misunderstandings, lots of truth, because that's how we disguise something, lots of truth with little sprinklings of untruth, because the nature of a trusting human is such that they'll take one seed of truth and assume that everything therefore is true and take the whole damn lot. So if you take something like Ho'oponopono, law of attraction, these are not necessarily wrong, but they are seeds interwoven into certain teachings of untruth. There are seeds that sit there, and they were there purposely. Maybe the teacher presenting it was there with the best of intention. So this is not necessarily about saying somebody's wrong or even saying that their teachings are wrong. This is not about argue. This is not about debating something. This is simply about saying you're softly, quietly going to recognize with teachers' teachings, things that you thought were true, that there was a lot of your energy invested in that, and that there is a deeper truth. So it's kind of like saying, well, that led me this far, and now I'm ready to go further. So you're not going to allow yourself to be defined by limitations, limited thinking, spiritual ideas and ideals that you thought were true. You will learn to be able to take the seeds of truth that are interwoven into these teachings and move forward with them and actually grow them and populate not just your own life, but the planet with them, so that others become affected by it too. Point number 5. Gosh, this is a big one. Number 5, number 6, and number 7. These are really where it gets exciting. You're going to start to see angels as demons. And what do I mean by this? People that were put in the media to appear as maybe not quite perfect, because nobody's really going to buy that, but just as the unsung hero, or as the superstar, or as the person who was fighting for justice. People who are painted in a really, really good light. So they're painted to be angels. You're going to start to see, wait, one cotton picking minute. These are the demons in disguise. But then vice versa, right? And that's going to take me to point number 6. You're going to start to see the demons as angels. So angels as demons, demons as angels. Let me give you an example, because then I know it can sound confusing. Think about people who the media has vilified. I'm not going to name names, you know them. Think about people who the media has turned into demons. These are the worst people ever. They're the worst leaders. They're the worst teachers. They're the worst perpetrators in society. A lot of the time, the people who had keys to free humanity, words of wisdom, words of liberation, words of truth, those people were silenced, not by putting a gag over their mouth, but by making them look like fools and idiots and making them look really bad, running campaigns against their persona in order to pass them off in a demonized way, right? So not literal demons and not literal angels. Angels as demons, demons as angels. That's point number 5 and 6, is really about look at the reversals that are shown to us. And an amazing thing starts to happen then. You start to see how point number 1 and 2, see people for who they really are, see situations for what they really are. You start to see how the implication of this allows you to see through all of the illusion. And as you see through all of the illusion, it falls to the ground. And as it falls to the ground, because it just cannot maintain itself, a lie cannot maintain itself once you've seen through it. And this is what's going to start to happen for you. You're going to start to see people in the light of truth, not because someone's told you who they are, but because you can start to feel into who they are, and you will have enough humility. You will be humble enough to know, wow, I really misjudged this person and I really misjudged that person, and that's okay. And you will start to allow yourself to align to your truth. And because of your truth, you can align to another person's truth, regardless of what the media spin is, or regardless of what the story is. So now we get to point number 7. I told you it was going to get more exciting as we go. You're going to start to see the movie set was never real. You were the only thing that was ever real. Look at the play on words. We talk about a movie reel, right? And reality, or what is real. Can you see how the world was set up for there to be a confusion? For us to mistake the movie reel, what was being played out for us, as reality. A lot of what we've seen in reality has been illusion. That's the movie reel. A lot of what we've seen has been a lot of bad players who now occupy empty spaces. And let me explain what that means. We've had people in very high positions. Maybe they're monarchs, maybe they are politicians, maybe they are well-known celebrities. We've had a lot of people in very, very high places who are not necessarily human, who are not necessarily aligned to truth the way that you are, but they've looked the part. Now, we've covered that in the first 7 steps, right? Or the first 6. But as we come here into the 7th implication of the fallen veil, we're going to begin to realize a lot of these very dark players have already been removed. And what that means is that there is now an empty space. I want to paint a picture for you. You've got the movie reel. The movie reel is showing you, here's a picture of a king and queen. I'm using that just as an example to illustrate important people, right? Look, there's the movie reel. There's the king and queen. The king and queen have been removed. But they are either actors, or there are holograms, or there is an empty vessel playing the part. In order for reality to look like it has continuity, in order for reality to continue to play out, in order for people to learn the lessons they still need to learn, because a lot are not yet done. Just because you can start seeing through it doesn't mean everybody else can. So for a while, there's going to be what you feel to be empty places, but it's confusing because there's a person there. Yet you know that's not a person. You know that what you're looking at is not real, either because you say, well, this is an illusion, or this is not the person that they're proclaiming to be. Those really negative players, most of them, if not all, have already been removed. They played in human bodies. They looked the part of the human. And when they are removed, they need a substitute to fill in the blank, so to speak. But the confusion comes in because you're going to feel the blank. You're going to feel the emptiness. So for a while, reality is a strange, crazy place. That's just where it is right now. But because that veil has fallen, you can feel. So it's not what your eyes see, it's what you feel. You can feel there is an emptiness to that facade. There's an emptiness to what the people are saying, perhaps on TV. There is going to be a very obvious and overt emptiness there. So the empty spaces are going to be obvious, even though to your eyes, they're not necessarily empty. I'm going to leave a video for you up here where I spoke about the fallen veil. Now, the video that I'm going to leave is the May-June energy update. So you could be watching this, a couple of months down the line and think, well, this isn't going to apply to me. It 100% will apply right now because it's going to be explaining the fallen veil to you just in a little bit more depth. All right, everyone, lots of love. Mwah. Bye-bye for now.